What's going on, everybody? We are live. You are watching the S3. I am JD. She is Lady M. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
So it looks like we have like an extra glare on the screen today. Kind of looks a little
Little
off.
lights hanging off the whiteboard,
Look,
I think.
we go for discount production here, so we're not trying to win an SB or something for sports reporting. All right, so I do want to say that we do cover NASCAR every race day, or we try to. We're doing pretty good. Also, we got MLB tomorrow, and then this Friday is the return of our NFL pod, where we'll be breaking down the first round of the NFL draft. So NFL finally ramping back up again, and I'm excited. I can't wait. I want to see where Jackson's going to get drafted.
Right.
Jackson Smith-Njigba, his brother as well, Kanan Smith-Njigba, who's on the Pirates, playing right now. Grounded out first attempt, but move the runner over. This is important. Real quick, we do want to give a shout out to Heroes Media Group. Heroes Media Group is a digital media branding and publishing platform committed to providing a voice for our community heroes and those who support them. For more information on how to launch your podcast and your brand, please go to www.heroesmediagroup.com. I do want to mention that I have something very big in the works for all you fanatics out there, so stay tuned to hear what's coming up and how it might change your sports world forever. All right, coming up on this episode, what to know about Talladega, inside the numbers, DraftKings DFS picks, and the competition. It's getting fierce. First, what do we got?
Turn 1, Talladega.
All right, so Talladega, what's up with Talladega? What do we know about it? Well, construction began on what was then known as the Alabama International Motor Speedway, because it's in Alabama. That began on May 23rd, 1968. The first NASCAR Cup Series race at Talladega Superspeedway was held on September 14, 1969, and the event was won by Richard Brickhouse, driving a Dodge. That's an awesome last name. Brickhouse.
That is.
I think that would be more of a football player. That'd be cool. Talladega is a 2.66 mile track. The race today will be 188 laps for a grand total of 500 miles. When was the last time you drove 500 miles in a day?
It's been a minute. Usually if I go to California for a quick visit or maybe Vegas.
What's the furthest road trip
before
that you've done?
COVID? Yeah. The furthest road trip that I've done. Well,
how many miles do you think?
I've driven from Kansas City, Missouri, all the way up to Portland, Oregon when I was a kid.
Right.
A lot. A lot. Days worth.
Because we're in a relationship, this is all about competition. So I'm going to beat you on this. Fort Hood, Texas, Fort Wainwright, Alaska, about 3,500 miles. For all you Canadians out there, that's about 6,000 kilometers, eh? All right. So, yeah, I did that in about 3.5 days.
Did you just not sleep?
Pretty much, yeah. It took a day to get from Central Texas to the Montana-Canada border. Yeah, that's true. And then, Canada's a lot bigger than it looks like on a map.
Yeah.
It's huge. It took 2.5 days to get from the Montana-Canada border through Canada and into Fairbanks, Alaska. So, anyway, back to work. The name of the track actually wasn't changed to Talladega Superspeedway until 1989. So far, there have been 107 NASCAR Cup Series races at Talladega, the Superspeedway. Been racing twice per year there since 1970, a little bit before our time. Of the 45 different drivers to win the pole at Talladega, 24 of the pole winners have won more than once. 6 of the 45 Talladega pole winners are active this weekend. Bell has 2 poles, Elliott with 2, Harvick with 2, Austin Dillon with 1, Stenhouse with 1, Truex with 1. In total at Talladega, there have been 51 different race winners. 26 of the 51 are multi-time winners. 11 of the 51 are in this race today. Keselowski has 6 wins, Logano with 3, Elliott with 2, Blaney with 2, Hamlin with 2, Chastain, Wallace, Almirola, Stenhouse Jr., Harvick, and Busch with 1. All right. The all-time leader in wins at Talladega is Dale Earnhardt with 10. The most recent winner at Talladega is Chase Elliott, who returned last week at Martinsville from a broken leg. One final note for this weekend. Today's start will be Kevin Harvick's 800th start of his career.
Nice.
So, and this is his last year. He is retiring at the end of the year. At the green flag, he'll become the 10th driver in NASCAR Cup Series history to make 800 starts in his career. The record holder for starts is held by the king, Richard Petty, at 1,184 starts. That's a lot. That is a lot. Before we get into the numbers, let me just say this. There was no practice at all. And we know this because like 3 years ago, I think it was, NASCAR announced no practicing anymore at Talladega because of the probability that they're just going to wreck during practice. So we're going to see some good wrecks today.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a nightmare like scenario where like everything's gonna be going good, and then somebody in the middle or the outside is just gonna swerve and take out 17 cars. All right. So what do we got next?
Turn 2, inside the numbers.
Inside the numbers. All right. So the race is basically like watching Survivor, NASCAR edition. Drivers are going to need a little luck, combined with maybe some backdoor deals and some shady driving to make it through to the checkered flag. So like I said, just like now, Survivor. So got to make some deals. Got to find your friends. So I do want to give a shout out to Chris Pinnell, who I get pretty much all my data from now. I am a credentialed media member with NASCAR. I do have the ability to get access to all the numbers, but what he sends me is absolutely phenomenal. The way he lays everything out. It's all on one sheet. It's not on like 15 sheets that I get from NASCAR media because they basically send it out as it comes out.
Right.
They don't put everything together nice and neat and everything. So shout out to Chris Pinnell. I use his stats for Inside the Numbers, for NASCAR DFS, for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So shout out again to Chris Pinnell. You can follow him on his YouTube channel, and you can follow him on Twitter at Chris Pinnell 16. So much love to you, CP. With that being said, who's fast? Well, as you know, you said already, NASCAR already announced 3 years ago there is no practice. So what I'm about to tell you really doesn't matter. Top 10 in qualifying, you got Hamlin, Almirola, Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Blaney, Bell, Truex Jr., Logano, Larson, and Chris Buescher. Bottom 10, 29th to 38th, you got Chase Elliott, Noah Gragson, Austin Hill, Ty Dillon, Stenhouse Jr., Chris LaJoie, Zane Smith, Riley Herbst, BJ McLeod, and JJ Yeley. The reason why none of this matters, like anybody within like 2 to 3 laps can go from the back of the pack to the front of the pack. Not to mention, again, there's going to be multiple vehicles taken out today because of the wrecks.
Right.
It's going to happen. So you can see somebody like Stenhouse, who I've got, go from the back to the front. You've got Corey LaJoie. Probably not going to be a winner, but I could definitely see him top 10, maybe even top 5, depending on how it goes. He's up there. Chase Elliott's a favorite today for my NASCAR DFS. He starts in 29th. Austin Hill, I also like him. He's back there in 31st. So, like, again, doesn't really matter today because it's just going to be insane. Like you said yesterday, you're like, well, you could probably take a nap during the NASCAR race. Not this race, because the big one can happen at any moment on any lap, whether they just took the green, they just had a caution, they just put it on fresh tires, doesn't matter. It can happen at the snap of a finger. So keep that in mind, that inside the numbers don't matter, really. But I am going to go over some matters that numbers that do matter in the next section, which is
Turn 3, DraftKings DFS.
All right, so I'm a DraftKings guy. All right, I know Prize Picks just signed a deal to become the number one, I guess you'd say, partner for betting with NASCAR. I haven't jumped into Prize Pick yet. I'm a DraftKings guy, so here's your DraftKings DFS. For today, it's a 2.66 mile track. Like I said earlier on, 188 laps, 500 miles. I am not concerned in the least with who leads the most laps today.
Right.
I'm not. Like any other track, short tracks, you want dominator points. There are dominator points to be given today, but I believe that the people in the back are going to have a lot better shot at racking up more fantasy points than the people in the front. Because if you're going to pick a dominator, then you basically need them to lead all the laps. I think you get I think it's like 0.75 points per lap that you lead. Right?
Okay.
So, yeah, if you're going to pick a dominator, I would pick maybe one dominator, maybe in the top 15. I have 0 drivers on any of my teams today inside the top 17. 0. I'm going for place differential. I'm going for the big wrecks as long as they don't take out my teams. But I will say this. I noticed yesterday in a lot of the competitions, DFS competitions for Xfinity, and there were some crazy wrecks yesterday. There were cars on the roofs. On their roofs. There were cars that were split in half. There were cars that were just obliterated from wrecks.
Right.
Expect to see more of that today, probably. Best points average at Talladega, top 3. Eric Jones, somebody to watch for. His average is 48.1 DK points. Starting in 24th today, he has an average finish of about 9th at Talladega. Todd Gilliland, 42.8 DK points. Starting in 28th, average finish is 17th. But I think he only has 2 starts at Talladega. So not a big pool to choose from. Most of these drivers, Chris Pinnell went off of the 6 starts, max. So they went off of the last 6 starts. So the numbers mean more for the more seasoned veterans, people that have been out there for a few years, than they do for the people say, Harrison Burton. And again, Todd Gilliland, really don't put too much stock into it until he gets some more numbers under him, race some more laps. So I've got Gillen, 42.8 DK points, starting in 28th, average finish to 17. Not saying he's not going to be a good play today. I'm just saying there's not enough data out there to see what he can actually do at this track. I do know that his father was really good at this track, though, so maybe he's giving him a lot of good advice. Who knows? Number 3, Ryan Blaney, 42.5 DK points. He's starting 5th today. He has an average finish of about 10.5. He had a lot of speed during qualifying. So that looked pretty good. Worst points average at Talladega, believe it or not, Kyle Larson with 2.5 DK points. That doesn't mean that he sucks here. That just means for fantasy points, he's not a good play. That probably means more that he's been up toward the front, top 5, top 10 most of the time. He's starting 9th today. He does have an average finish here, however, of 24.8. That tells me another thing. He gets caught up in the wrecks.
Yeah.
He gets caught up in the wrecks.
I imagine front runners probably have a higher chance of that.
Yeah. Well, I try to look at probably 8th or 9th to 20th.
Yeah.
So those are usually the people that want to take more risk because they want to get in that top 10.
Right.
That top 10, they want to get the stage points. So make their way into the playoffs. So there are going to be a lot of risk taken. Joey Logano, you picked him with 8.2 DK points, starting in 8th today. Average finish is 24th in his last 6 races at Talladega. Harrison Burton, who I mentioned earlier on, I think he's only got 3 races under him. 8.9 DK points, starting 25th today. Average finish is 30th. Top projected in points today, Chase Elliott, Keselowski, and Ross Chastain. With that being said, again, I have absolutely nobody inside the top 15 today. The highest driver I have today is Kyle Busch in any of my builds in 17th. Best value today inside the top 20 would be Brad Keselowski. He's starting in 20th position. From 30th to 21st, you got to look at Chase Elliott in 29th. He's going to be moving up. He's going to get those points for place differential. And he's got the possibility of leading some laps today. So he can get those dominator points as well. But most of his points will be from moving up the field. From 38th to 31st, look at Austin Hill starting in 31st. I also like Corey LaJoy in 34th. And I like Stenhouse, who is a past winner here in 33rd. If you want to go chalk, here's your lineup. You got Elliott at 10-1, Keselowski at 9,200, Chastain at 9,400, Bowman at 8,200, Eric Jones at 6,700, and Austin Hill at 5,900. That's your chalk lineup. That's the lineup I'm posting to look at today. But I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people with that lineup today. So you can go chalk, play it safe, maybe double what you put into your DFS league, your tournament. But that's why I've got about 24 lineups today. So I didn't go chalk on every one of them. What's next?
Turn 4, the competition.
We still haven't figured out what we're doing this for yet. I'm just thinking dinner.
I was thinking for fun. But yeah.
What fun is just doing it for fun?
Can be dinner.
Dinner?
Yeah.
Where, though? Like, where?
Well, winner gets to pick.
Ooh. I like that.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. Winner gets to pick. A nice dinner. We are relocating. Breaking news. We're relocating from the west side to the east side. We got a new place. Picked up keys yesterday, Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah, it's nice.
So there may be some interruption in our live feeds moving forward, but
sometimes
yeah,
a lot of energy.
Although this setup will probably be one of the last setups to get out of here.
Yeah.
So
might be here for a while.
Yeah, it might be here for a minute. We still got plenty of time. We picked up keys yesterday, but we got like over a month to get out of here. The competition is what we're talking about. So I took over the lead last week to go up 3-2 on the season competition. This goes all the way up to week 1 of the NFL season because then new competition.
NFL. Yep.
Yep. And we'll be going to Orlando.
Because of the last.
Because of the last competition.
NFL.
So
paying for him to
the NFL competition.
Florida for a week.
Yeah. All right. So this week, basically what we do for our competition makes it fun, makes it interesting to keep an eye on the race. We break it down into 5 sections. We break the lineup down into 5 sections. We have 1st through 8th, 9th through 16th, 17th through 24th. I'm trying to do math in my head here. 25th to 32nd, and then 33rd on back. Each one of us picks a driver. The loser of last week's competition gets to be the first pick. So 1 through 8, who did you pick this week?
I picked Logano.
You're going with Logano, who has one of the worst DraftKings points. All right, fantasy points. I am going with a guy that's really good here. I'm going with Denny Hamlin. He's on the pole, but I like him. Next up, who you got?
Harvick.
You got Harvick, 800th career start today. Maybe something special. You want to be up there? I'm going with Larson, who is also terrible for DraftKings fantasy points, but it doesn't mean he's going to do. I hope he finishes better than 24th place, though, which is his average here.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in the wrecks. All right. Next up, who you got?
I went with McDowell.
McDowell, you actually can have a lot of value with McDowell today. I was looking at him as well.
He's
probably a
good,
top finish.
Placeholder.
Yeah.
Once he gets in his little groove.
Again, I mean, today you just got to avoid the wrecks. Whoever does the best job of avoiding the wrecks or taking on the least amount of damage can move up quite a bit. I am pairing him up against Busch. That commercial's in my head every time. Busch. All right. Next up, who do you got?
Bowman.
I didn't even know you liked him. I had no clue. All right. I am going with Chase Elliott. Back there in the back of the pack. I do like Bowman, though. I really do like Bowman as far as fantasy value today. He's on quite a few of my fantasy teams today. So good pick there, solid pick. Hopefully Elliott will work out the way I want it to, though. Next, who do you got?
I went with LaJoy.
I like LaJoy.
It's a little weird he's all the way back there. It feels like a more fluke than
deserving. Yeah. But he's usually, as far as DFS value goes, he's usually like an under $6,000 buy-in. So like I've got Austin Hill at 5,900. I think I had enough room to go with Corey LaJoy if I wanted to, but I think I get a few more points. Yeah, I like LaJoy. I matched him up against Stenhouse. I'm going with Junior today. Stenhouse Jr. He runs pretty good here. Got a lot of value here. I like these matchups. I really do like these matchups. You've got one person that doesn't finish well here. I've got a couple people that don't finish well here. Harvick, it would be really cool to see Harvick win in his 800th
It really would, honestly. That'd be. I like him. He's a genuinely nice dude. He was so good to his fans. When he was back here in Phoenix, we met him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he like we said it last week
dude.
too. He spent the most time signing autographs and taking pictures.
Like almost late to the race.
Yeah.
Everybody else is blowing by and he's made sure to talk to every single person.
All right, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I've got something really big in the works for you fanatics out there. Basic question, what would you do if you could interview your favorite teams or players or even drivers, NASCAR drivers? Well, I've got something coming up. It's a new program in the works called Sports Media X. If you don't know, I'm a sports what do I do? What is my title? I'm a sports director for Heroes Media Group. I'm really good at building sports brands, and I'm really good at getting media credentials. And I'm putting together a program that can teach you to do exactly what I did, which is basically building a sports media brand off of Heroes Media Group. I do want to give a shout out to Heroes Media Group again. Adam Bird is the mastermind and the CEO, founder, El Presidente, if you will, of Heroes Media Group. And I basically just tagged along with him and built the sports brand for it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm putting together a program that teaches you how to do exactly what I did and how I got access to NASCAR media, how I got access to UFC, Bellator MMA, being ringside at those events, how I got courtside at the Final Four, covered college basketball, Major League Baseball,
press box.
Like everybody. So I'm putting together the basic breakdown, the plan on how to do exactly that. And that's going to be coming out here hopefully soon. It's a lot of work, but it's going to be worth it. Once again, make sure you do check out Heroes Media Group. You can learn more about them by going to www.heroesmediagroup.com. Check out Chris Pinnell once again on YouTube and follow him at Twitter at Chris Pinnell16. Check out the S3 on Twitter. You can follow me, JD, at SmartSide. Follow Lady M on Twitter at LadyM_S3, and look for DraftKings picks from myself on our Twitter and Facebook page, not just for NASCAR, but daily baseball contests as well this week. That's it for this week's episode of the S3 with JD. Until next week, I'm JD with the answer to the trivia question I never asked. Wham! We had a wham moment last night.
We did. It was fun.
All right, everybody, take care. That's the show.